Have you ever done that thing where you see a big headline, maybe market news, and you react instantly?
Oh, all the time.
Right. And then later you find out, hold on, there's way more to it. It's way more nuanced.
Especially in biotech, things move so fast.
Exactly. So today, we're kind of unpacking one of those exact scenarios. It's about Viking Therapeutics and their oral weight loss drug, VK2735.
The one that's been getting a lot of buzz.
Yeah, precisely. So just to set the scene a bit, the market reaction to the initial phase 2 results for this oral drug. Well, let's just say it wasn't exactly enthusiastic.
Less than impressed, I think, was the phrase going around.
That was putting it mildly. This trial, they called it the venture trial, it really sent some shockwaves. And the immediate feeling was disappointment. Like the stock, VKTX, suddenly didn't have any, near-term catalysts left.
Which is understandable, I guess, given the other version, the injection.
Right, the subcutaneous one. Phase 3 results for that aren't expected until 2027. So yeah, a lot of the excitement was really pinned on this oral version.
But what's fascinating here, I think, if you look just a bit closer, that initial reaction, it might have been, too hasty.
Okay.
There could still be time to sort of reconsider this one, this healthcare stock. The headline numbers often, hide the real story in these trials.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that then. That's our mission for this deep dive.
Right.
Get past that first wave of market feeling. We want to understand exactly what the venture trial showed, put it up against the competitors.
Crucial context.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then explore what might still be possible for Viking and this drug, VK2735. Things maybe the market overlooked.
Yeah.
And just so you know, we've gathered a bunch of stuff, articles, research, the actual trial data to give you hopefully the full picture.
Which I think raises a really important question for you listening in this flood of information we all face.
Yeah.
How do we actually evaluate these complex trial results?
Yeah.
And the market's reaction? How do you figure out a company's real potential?
Especially in a hot area like weight loss drugs.
Yeah. Exactly. Huge interest, fierce competition. You really need to look beyond the noise, get into the detail.
Absolutely. And that's what we're aiming for. So let's start with the venture trial itself. When that first data dropped, the market really zoomed in on one thing.
Right.
The drug definitely seemed to work, right?
Yep.
The efficacy was a significant weight loss.
It'd be impressive, actually.
But the red flag, the thing that really got investors spooked and drove that negative reaction, was the safety and tolerability data.
Yeah.
Specifically, a 20% rate of people stopping the drug discontinuation because of adverse events.
And that 20% number, that's where things get sticky. Just for clarity, an adverse event is basically any unwanted side effect, symptom, whatever, that happens while taking the drug. It doesn't even have to be proven to be caused by the drug initially.
Okay.
So 20% means 1 in 5 patients just stopped taking it because of these issues. And, people immediately thought back to Pfizer.
Oh, yeah, that's important context.
Right. Pfizer, huge company, tons of resources. They recently stopped development of their own oral weight loss drug. Same class, GLP-1 GIP agonist.
Why did they stop?
Tolerability again. Too many patients had issues, nausea, vomiting. Basically, they couldn't stick with it. So seeing Viking's 20%, that set off alarm bells.
Okay, so that Pfizer shadow looms large. And then if you compare Viking's 20% to the people in the same trial who got the placebo.
The sugar pill group.
Yeah. They had a 13% discontinuation rate due to adverse events.
So a difference there.
A 7% difference. Not huge, maybe, but it does suggest the drug itself was causing more people to drop out.
Right. It points towards the drug having a real impact on tolerability.
But to really grasp why the market reacted so strongly, you need to look beyond just Viking's trial, right? We need to see how it stacks up against the competition.
Exactly. You got to put it in the arena. And when you do that, Viking's 20% discontinuation rate, well, it looks quite high compared to the big players in their later stage phase 3 trials.
Like who?
Okay, so take Novo Nordisk's oral semaglutide. You might know the injectable as Wegovy or Ozempic, but this is the pill version.
Gotcha.
Their big phase 3 trial, Oasis 1, reported only a 6% discontinuation rate due to side effects. 6%.
Wow. Okay. Big difference from 20%.
Huge. And then there's Eli Lilly's drug, or Forglipron, also oral. Their phase 3 Attain-1 showed 10.3%.
So 6% and 10.3% versus Viking's 20% in phase 2.
Precisely. And that matters a lot because tolerability, just how well people can actually take the drug day after day without feeling awful, that's absolutely critical for something you might take long term, like for obesity.
Yeah, that makes total sense. If a drug works miracles but makes you feel sick all the time,
You're probably not going to stick with it.
right, especially for a chronic condition.
Yeah.
So the market saw that 20% compared to 6% and 10%, and well, hit the sell button.
That seems to be a big part of the story, yes.
So the obvious question then is, why? What were the side effects? Were they really severe?
Well, the trial reported the usual suspects for this drug class. Gastrointestinal stuff.
Nausea, vomiting.
Yep, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. Pretty standard for GLP-1s, oral or injected. The data said these were generally mild to moderate.
Okay, so not necessarily super severe for everyone?
Not necessarily, but apparently frequent enough or bothersome enough that 1 in 5 people decided, nope, I'm out. It's always this trade-off, isn't it? How much discomfort will you put up with for the benefit?
Especially long-term.
Especially long-term. The bar is just higher.
Okay, so we've got this picture. Concerning tolerability, made worse by the Pfizer comparison and the competitors' better numbers.
Yeah.
But, and this is where you said it gets interesting,
Right.
that might not be the whole story. Because while tolerability was an issue, the drug did work. The efficacy was strong.
This is the crucial pivot. If we switch focus from tolerability back to efficacy, VK2735 actually looks really good.
Okay.
Yes, the tolerability was a concern, especially next to Novo's 6% and Lilly's 10.3% discontinuation rates in phase 3. We can't ignore that. But the effectiveness. At the highest dose, Viking's drug showed a 12.2% average body weight loss from baseline in just 13 weeks.
13 weeks, okay. How does that compare?
It's remarkably similar to Eli Lilly's or orforglipron, which hit 12.4%, though that was over 36 weeks.
Longer trial.
Longer trial. And it's even in the same ballpark as Novo's oral semaglutide, which got 15% weight loss, but that was over 68 weeks.
So Viking's drug achieved similar weight loss, potentially faster.
That's what the phase 2 data suggests. Significant weight loss in a relatively short time. And at this point, this really strong positive might have just gotten drowned out by all the noise about tolerability right after the results came out.
That is a critical distinction. The drug delivers on the main goal, helping people lose significant weight.
Clinically meaningful weight loss.
So if it works that well, why the market's, long face? Was it just the 20% dropout rate? Or maybe an overreaction comparing a phase 2 directly to phase 3s?
It's probably a mix of things. The market hates uncertainty, and a high dropout rate is a real risk signal, especially early on.
Makes sense.
For drugs people need to take for years, tolerability has to be really good. Impressive results over 13 weeks are great, but investors want to see that sustained longer without driving people away.
So there's tension. Strong effect, but maybe too many side effects for long-term use.
That's the core tension. But it's also important to remember, Viking's trial was short 13 weeks. The others were much longer. It's possible, maybe, that with more time, different dosing, the picture could improve.
Right. Maybe they can tweak it, optimize it.
Potentially.
So the market maybe panicked about the immediate tolerability issue and kind of missed the what if of future improvements and definitely downplayed the what is the strong efficacy right now.
That's a fair way to put it.
Okay, so given all this, the story for Viking isn't necessarily over then, despite the challenges. What options might they have?
Yeah, this brings up a key point. Viking might have more cards to play than the market reaction suggests.
Like what?
Well, first off, there's always the possibility of a larger pharma company stepping in.
An acquisition or partnership.
Exactly. A big player might see that strong efficacy data as a really valuable asset. They have the deep pockets and experience to maybe tackle the tolerability issues in phase 3.
Wow.
Maybe trying slower dose increases, different formulations, maybe even combining it with something else to reduce side effects. They could see it as worth the investment to refine it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
A bigger company could potentially unlock its value.
Right. Imagine a company already strong in diabetes or obesity adding this to their lineup. They might see the long-term potential of an effective oral option.
Interesting. What if that doesn't happen right away? Any other paths for Viking?
Another thought is finding a specific niche. Maybe VK2735, even as it is now, could work as a maintenance therapy.
Maintenance, so after initial weight loss.
Yeah. Say someone lost a lot of weight using an injectable GLP-1, and now they want an easier oral option to just keep the weight off.
Ah, okay.
In that situation, maybe a lower dose works, or perhaps those patients are already used to managing some side effects. It'd be a smaller market, sure, but potentially a loyal one.
And they still have the injectable version coming down the pike, right?
Absolutely. Can't forget that.
Yeah.
The subcutaneous VK2735 is still moving towards phase 3 results in 2027. That's still a potentially huge asset for them, even if it doesn't solve the immediate desire for an oral drug.
Okay, so let's bring this back to you, our listener. What's the takeaway here?
Well, I think...
It feels like a really powerful reminder, doesn't it?
Yeah,
That the headlines, the first reactions, they often miss the full story.
definitely.
The Viking situation really shows how focusing too much on one number, like the tolerability in this phase 2, can kind of overshadow other really important stuff like the strong efficacy and the future potential.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the basic numbers for Viking, the market cap moving around, the recent price around, what, $27? But a 52-week range from under $19 to over $81.
Whoa, yeah, big swings.
It just screams biotech volatility, right?
Yeah.
Big potential shifts. And, we mentioned analyses like the Motley Fool Stock Advisor not having VKTX in their top picks right now. Because that's just one perspective.
Oh, piece of a much bigger puzzle.
Exactly. You really have to dig deeper than the surface level to get properly informed.
True understanding takes effort.
So, looking forward, here's something to think about. How does the whole industry find that sweet spot between the huge demand for drugs that really work for weight loss and the absolute need for patients to actually tolerate them, especially if it's a pill you take every day?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
And what new ideas might pop up? Better formulations, dosing tailored to the individual maybe, ways to manage those side effects better so more people can benefit.
And building on that, how will this constant push for the convenience of a pill keep driving innovation, even when companies hit bumps in the road like Viking did here?
Yeah.
Because this trait isn't just about making pills versus injections. It's really about changing how we manage chronic diseases, making treatments more accessible, easier to stick with. It could reshape what successful treatment even means in this field.